It's a hell of a lot.
That's a whole lot.
Yeah, yeah. It's more than Google, because we figured like Google had the infinity thing locked down, and now that we're in a quantum physics type parallel universe thing, a gajillion is a Google squared.
A Google squared.
Google
All
squared.
right.
We're starting for a wiki page here. It is infinity squared, and so with our reversed alien technology here, we've learned to convert a simple Radio Shack transmitter into a gajillion megawatts.
Whatever it is, I am totally impressed. I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you.
All right.
And so we have so much stuff to talk about today. The biggest thing, which will consume the majority of the show, is that everyone in the room here has a major art show coming in less than 7 days.
Oh
Oh my
my.
God.
Does anybody need a tissue?
Yeah.
I do.
Several, thank you. And
Wow.
So
And,
much to do, huh?
yeah, I mean, we can all agree that months and months of work and time. And the theme of today's show is collaboration.
collaboration.
And the Exquisite Corpse is a game of 30 artists collaborating. Exposure is a show of, how many artists do you have?
35 total.
35 artists collaborating, photographers, sculptors, painters, everything, you name it. Everybody's collaborating. And what it is we're kind of starting a new trend here in St. Pete of like, you know, there's so much talent that rather than everybody having like this individualistic, you know, approach of how do I get people in my gallery to buy my work, you showcase it with your peers to where collectively everybody's either selling or showcasing their work so that people can in one show see a variety of artists, not just go to one or two people's art shows. Or, you know, I mean, there's a lot of great shows that have 4 and 5 and 10 and 20 artists, but they're all individual. It's not like what we're doing here, which is we're pushing the envelope. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and there have been a few shows that have come about in the last year or so that kind of utilize that mentality, like Fantastic Ekphrastic, you know, where you've got visual artists and then you've got actors and you've got writers, you know, so there's a lot of these kind of collaborative events, and they're so imaginative, and they allow exactly what you're talking about for a lot of people to come together in one place and have that.
It's like a potluck.
It totally
I mean, seriously, it's like, you know, I mean, but because here we go, we got this weekend coming up. I'm going to give a brief rundown of everything, and then we'll go in depth of it. But we got Thursday night, the premiere of the Exquisite Corpse, rolling into Friday during the day up until 3 p.m. You could see it. Friday night is opening night of Exposure, right?
Yep.
That's the opening. That's the big night. Then you got Saturday, second Saturday. Also on Friday night is the opening of Bloom's exhibition, and you know there's over 30 artists in that, I believe, as well. All sculpture, which is
beautiful.
Great to see 3D, you know, getting some great building again, which was one of the compliments we got with the Exquisite Corpse, because 2D so often is prevalent. It's easy for people to carry 2D work, but you know, to put out 3D work is special. And then so you got second Saturday, then you got Exposure's open Saturday, Folk Fest, Rib Fest. It's a festive weekend. Sunday evening is the closing of Exposure. And then also, like, what else is going on this weekend? Did I miss something?
An indie market.
Indie market?
That's right, the November Festival. Remember we talked about
Yep, that's right.
What's that called?
the
Bends.
Bends.
Yep.
Mhm. That one's this weekend. So we've got like
Oh,
Folk
that's
Fest
right,
and
this
that this
weekend.
weekend, and then our stuff next
The
weekend. But it's all.
Oh, that's right. All right. Yeah,
No,
that's-
Big Mud.
I mean, it's all blending together.
It is.
Yeah.
I
have
understand.
100 pounds of weight crammed into a 10-pound bag the next 10 days. So,
Totally get
so
it.
excuse me if I mix up the dates. But so the point of it is that November, it's cool coming up to Thanksgiving. We have a lot to be thankful for, and it's a very festive couple of weekends leading up into that holiday. In terms of this is kind of the grand finale of our season, you know, for a time, because now the weekends are going to be taken up with family time,
Right.
you know, Thanksgiving, then now you're rolling into Christmas season, kids are on vacation, traveling. So December for artists is generally a slow month when it comes down to it,
Yeah, it's hard
because
to plan an event.
yeah, I mean,
December, yeah.
I'll tell you what, if you can get 300 people at an art show on December 15th, I'll tell you
I will
what.
eat my hat.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's kind of a big deal because there's so much going on.
I really like how these two shows kind of show like the heartbeat of the city. Now, both of these shows have developed organically amongst themselves, and they both involve so many different artists, and they show how many people are working here and want to work with each other and want to do these collaborative efforts. And I think it's really just a real mirror of the city here and the activity that's going on in it.
And the thing that I was thinking about, because of course, in my head, I'm starting to write the script of the MC for the evening of the launch of the show, and going to thank you.
You're going to be awesome.
No, because basically, what we're going to do is it's going to be two Outcasts and a Mike hosting the launch of it, so sitting there and thinking about it, and I'm like, wow, none of this would be possible without X, Y, and Z. And then I started thinking of the thank you list, but first and foremost, regardless of any fundraising, whatever, it's the artists. It's the art community. Like, these pieces would not be possible without the participation of these artists. And that's what artists do. They participate in community.
Yes.
And therefore, when you have a chance to, it's just like democracy. It's like what Bernie's doing right now. It's a revolution. We're starting a revolution. You get people together thinking and doing the same things. That happens on a large scale for your community. What we're trying to do is put St. Pete on the map, like, internationally.
Absolutely.
And get the recognition we deserve, not just on a state level, but a national level and then international level.
And we absolutely deserve, and for some time, ever since the doors of the Dali opened, we've been deserving of
the pin's been on the map. Now all we need to do is
Exactly.
make that pin a little bit bigger. And this just in, Tom James is buying the 100 Central Avenue for $13.5 million and putting his museum in there right on Central. So now we got another museum with a multi-million-dollar bronze collection that is just. He's had it out there at Raymond James. A lot of it's going to get moved to the museum instead of being on campus, so that it's not out in the elements.
Right.
And
Chihuly, right?
Yeah,
the
Chihuly's
Chihuly's getting a bigger spot.
oh my God.
We have the American Craft Museum being built. There's another one.
The American.
It's starting to become to where it's an epicenter.
It's not just a one-trick pony.
Right.
No, and to where you can have a nice weekend in St. Pete. Now it's turning into a week.
Well, now you really have to pick and choose what you have to do, and you have to leave something behind.
Yeah.
And that never used to be the case. You'd be racking your brains in the middle of the year. What are we going to do?
Yeah.
Okay,
Now you
we've
can't
been to
find
the Dali and the Museum of Fine Arts. Now what do we do?
Now you can't find a parking spot.
Now you can't find a parking spot.
Yeah.
It's crazy, and I love it. I love to see what's
It's all
happening
very
to this
exciting.
community. I bought my house downtown in 1991. Okay, and I can tell you from that experience, there wasn't too much going on.
That's a very different town, wasn't it?
It was. There was still an arts vibe. There were still galleries and the antique shops, and of course, the Dali and the Museum of Fine Arts were very much active and a central part of our arts community. But really, if you talk to Wayne Afterholt, the cultural czar of the administration.
And we have.
And I know you have, exactly.
Japan's kind of running on it.
Exactly. But he's such an arts historian for this community. And he talks about how it was really incorporated as an arts community. From the very beginning, from the early 1900s.
Oh yeah, Peter
Gementif
was an arts collector. He was from St. Petersburg, Russia. Yeah. So all right, so here's what we want to do though. Now that we're coming up on the 10 minutes in. I want to focus in and let people know, what it is that you do and what you're doing with exposure and how it's all tied together, so that way when we elaborate on the collaboration with Exquisite Corpse and how it's all connected together, because I happen to be in your show as well.
Yes, you are.
So we want people to get a better understanding of who you are, where you come from, and what you do.
And thank you. Well, first of all, I appreciate the media collaboration, because not only are we looking at promoting the arts collaboration of these two shows, but we're doing this great media collaboration between two Outcasts and a Mike and Beauty and the Burg.
That's really cool.
And internet,
cool.
Radio fighting mainstream media, saying, "Hey, listen to the private small guys, and this is where you're going to get the real news, the real skinny of what's really happening in your community." And drawing awareness to that. That's the biggest thing. Now we're reaching twice the numbers.
Well, when I started my show, I got questioned as to why do you think an international community is going to want to hear about St. Pete? And I said, I don't know. Why does anyone watch Austin City Limits? We're just as cool.
That was a good response.
Yeah, I said, why do they watch that? We're just as cool as they are, and we're going to be surpassing them.
Oh, yeah.
What time is it? Any minute now.
Yeah.
So why not?
Yeah.
Why why wouldn't they want to be listening? And obviously you guys have been on the forefront of that too. And it's just been a great time and a great response. People do want that information. But I love that we are coming together to promote each other's shows on the air and in these arts venues.
Absolutely.
It's
So,
totally great.
well, I mean,
Exposure, okay.
so to dig deeper in it, when we first discussed it, we're having a aperitif at the Amsterdam there,
Yes.
and it came up to, hey, what are you doing? Hey, what am I doing? Hey, we're both playing in our show. And so, what inspired you to put on exposure through the what you do professionally as a radio host? And
That's exactly how it happened.
How did that all come together?
I was interviewing an artist, and she took me up to her studio, and it was so beautiful and homey and comfortable. And I just got this picture in my mind of her creating her beautiful work, and that was Margaret Jewel Ahmad.
Yeah.
And
to be a fly on the wall in
exactly,
that studio kind of deal.
It's so great. She has it up in the loft, and it's just so comfortable and homey. And I was thinking about her. I had this visual of her painting, and then I thought I would love to see someone. And I think maybe the next day I had lunch with Rossi Newson or a photographer that I know. I have lunch with him a lot, and it just came together. I thought, I would love to see a photo, an artistic photo of her doing what she does. And then it just rolled from there. And I thought, have I ever seen an exhibition of artistic photos that depicted an artist creating art? No.
And then you also have the art that's being created for sale at the show.
Exactly. So then the image is one of the artists creating their piece, and then the piece depicted in the image will also be available at the show. So you have the image, and that's where the exposure comes from. Exposure, obviously a photography reference.
Yeah, it's a great pun.
The exposure,
Yeah,
the exposure of the process of the artist. You're really getting to get that intimate, and that's why I call it the intimacy of art, as opposed to the art of intimacy. You're getting to see that intimate look at the artist process, that moment in time that really captures what it takes to go through to create that piece.
But the beauty of it is from the aspect of 10, 15 different photographers.
Yes.
So the other thing too is it's not like you have a single photographer. So you have all these different styles of shooting, all these different types of photographers that are going to take and interpret what you've put as the muse, the theme of the show, and make it their own.
Exactly.
And I know through my experience working with Zena Scudieri, and shooting with her.
How crazy talented is that girl?
I know, and she loves the macro. And the biggest problem that we have is like, how close can I get so that hot sparks don't land on my lens? Because this is an expensive lens.
Yeah,
and it was really cool to see what she wanted to. Hey, El Presidente over there.
He's a popular guy.
Yeah, put your phone on silent. Unless it's Buttercup, then you have to answer. But being able to see what she's interested in as that, because that's what she's trying to emote and give to the viewer in terms of the visual of what's behind that. And
it breaks down into 10 mini shows, and there's a great amount of diversity. So exactly what you're saying, you've got the work of Megan Beckler or Zena Scudieri or Nikki Devereaux, these kind of young, fresh, new on the scene, versus the work of someone like Herb Snitzer,
who's been around as a legend.
Right, exactly. Who's world-renowned photographer, and
Go Pats.
and he loves the Pats.
I know. Every time I talk about Herb, I'm like.
So this great dichotomy of styles and influences, and we tried to have a lot of diversity in the show: ages, genders, cultural diversity, so that everyone is represented. So yeah, you'll definitely see that kind of thing, like the images of this artist compared to, I call it the artist on both sides of the lens, because everyone's an artist, even though you've got photographers and visual artists.
To me, it kind of also seems like a funhouse mirror too, to where every artist is a filter. And so, if you take an artist, let's say as a photographer, and you tell them to shoot something that's, like the cityscape or whatever, they're going to interpret it. However, you have an artist shooting another artist. That's kind of like two mirrors looking back at each other, to where, you know, they're both a little skewed and distorted. Because I mean, think about the medium that you're shooting. You know, that's not the easiest thing. I mean, we can attest what it's like to you know, the herding cats principle of getting 30 people to congeal together on the same idea on a timeline with a complex thought and you know, lots of things and you know, whew, I'll tell you what.
Well, you have another level of collaboration there, because what you have is the photographer's idea of the image they want to portray, but then you've got the visual artist idea of what they want portrayed of themselves. So they have to collaborate on the final image. That,
you know, and now that you bring that, it's kind of a treat for the artist, because, you know, just like the reveal at Exquisite Corpse, we won't get to see what the photographers are presenting. You know, we knew who came and shot us while we were working and whatever. However, we see our piece that we created one way, and then what we're doing is getting to see it through their lens of the way that they see us creating that piece.
Right.
So that's kind of a surprise to the artist involved in the game too, of like, how am I not necessarily portrayed, but how am I seeing through another artist's eyes?
Yes.
And with their artistic vision, which is, you know, a filter, you know, the original filter, hashtag original filter. Being an artist, hashtag, you know,
I love
Jimmy.
hashtags.
Yeah, but I remember like Jimmy Fallon on you know, the Tonight Show or whatever. He's like, hashtag this, hashtag that, hashtag this, and then he's going back and forth with Justin Timberlake, and the dude from the Roots comes in and it's like hashtag SD, you know, FB or whatever, you know, the hashtag is. So yeah, I mean, so the big thing too that we want to get across to people is this. There is an art community here in St. Pete that is hundreds deep. You know, scratching the surface. I mean, let's just say hundreds, because there could very well be thousands of artists in St. Pete, and it's going to be that way pretty soon, because, you know, I hate to use the term mecca, but it's kind of turning into this magnet that is drawing in talent. And you know, again, with the collaboration, what we're collaborating to do here is to take our name and, like we said, put it out around the world, you know, on this mega scale, and say, here we are, look at us, versus like, oh, I hope people come here and look at us. No, it's, you know, you get it out there.
That's the idea. I have two hashtags on my show. One is hashtag local love worldwide and hashtag telling our story around the world, for exactly the reasons that you're saying.
And you know, like, sometimes we'll joke that we have listeners around the world and like listening globally, but we've actually had some emails and
totally did.
And some contact back to where like there's people all around the world that are tuning into us every week, to where, like, you know, here it is, two crazy outcasts and Mike. You know, like, who would have thought? But, you know, like, we've got a little slap on the hand before.
I had one of my European listeners order art from one of our local artists.
Oh, wow.
See?
That's really exciting.
I know.
And if you could just help one duckling cross the road, kind of principle, right?
There's only one, but, you know.
Because that's spawned a whole new generation.
I love it.
Fab, oh my gosh, Mike Royce wants to buy Dan Painter's sculptures at Amsterdam.
So
yeah.
So it'll go over to England.
And to his pub in England.
Oh, come on. Whatever. Hey, Dan, we saw 33% of that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, by the way, we saw 33% of that. All right, so what we want to do is do a quick recap for those of us just tuning in, or for those of you just tuning in, not those of us because we've been tuned in. This is two Outcasts and Mike, and we got special guest Cindy Stovall, who is host of Beauty the Burg on Life Improvement Radio. She has a show every week. Wednesdays at
6 on lifeimprovementradio.com and Fridays at 5 on LIRafterdark.com.
After Dark, yeah, that's right. Not quite pillow talk, but it's After Dark. And she has an amazing show that she's been working on for months and months called Exposure, which we've been talking about how it's bringing together a collaboration of over 30 artists, both visually and 3D. And then we've been talking about Exquisite Corpse, which our shows are back to back on a huge action-packed weekend.
Yes.
Several gajillion megawatts.
Sunday. You know, like, I mean, if we could pack more, you know, it's like TNT. Man. You know, you just keep tamping it in there, like, you know. Like, I hope if I could pack a little bit more in there, this won't go off while I'm packing it, you know. You got 99.2 pounds in there, like 0.8 pounds. You know, it's like, you know, when you're pulling the gas thing and you don't want it to come spitting out of the tank when you overflow. And so it's huge. I mean, the energy of it's huge. So we're recapping that. We're talking a lot about it because St. Pete is community, St. Pete is art, St. Pete is collaboration.
Definitely.
And we have, you know, like, I mean, and this is the artistic revolution. You know, this is the coming of art spearheading, you know, a community and people recognizing that there's a viable economic and financial base that comes from the assets of having an artist-based community.
No doubt about it.
It's not just the talent and the beauty that they create, but it's the type of people that they are. It's the type of people that will say, hey, listen, I'm going to go ahead and make a piece of sculpture at my own cost and put it in this box or do this thing with it. And just because I want people to see how great I am, like, I'm going to put that out there because look who I'm with. Look at the greatness I'm surrounded by. Look at my friends that I'm doing it with. And so a lot of people involved in both of our shows are doing it through mutual. I mean, that's the thing. We didn't realize till after the fact we started discussing the overlap of the cast of artists.
I know.
To where, you know, I mean, you know, if you came into St. Pete with a colander and scrap, you know, the cream off the top of it, you're going to get the same 50 people that are just awesome.
But we have a nice group of different people.
Yeah, and then like here's the thing, that cream is rising. I mean, there's artists in both shows that some people don't even know about that we could talk about for an entire show.
I know, it's true.
You know, I mean, like literally, we will and we can dedicate the rest of the year.
Well, I'll tell you, I have been doing a series of shows, trying, and I still haven't been able to get everybody on, but it's been a lot of fun. Let me tell you, when you're sitting around a table with Herb Snitzer and Carol Dameron and Lance Rogers, who have been at the forefront of this arts community for the last 2.5 decades, beyond, Herb obviously beyond, but here in town from the old Salt Creek Artworks, where I first met Lance over 20 years ago, but sitting around a table with them, talking about their careers and the art and the development of the arts community, and putting it on a show, I'm telling you, it doesn't get any better than that.
And every week we've been think of how many people they've mentored.
Yeah.
You know, that's a big, you know, theme that runs common in both the shows as well is the mentorship, the levels of artists. You know, in both shows we have these, you know, masters, these well-known professionals that have a you know, avid career of just impressing people.
Exactly.
We've got the up and coming in the middle that have been mentored by them. Well, you know, and then below that we have the people that are just coming up that now, you know, people such as myself and Jeremiah are starting to even, you know, in some ways mentor artists that are younger than us by, you know, involving in shows that we're doing, you know, working with them, doing collaborations to where that's how we got brought up. That's, you know, we were fortunate enough to work with some really big name artists to get the experience and exposure through, you know, just experience, you know, like there's things in the art world you can't do overnight. And that was one thing that, you know, we could definitely teach young artists.
That's one thing I love about the arts is like people are so in love with their processes and their materials that they for nothing will share everything with you.
I'll show you how I do everything.
To try to show you that same magic they see with it. It's not something like you get with tax accounting, you know.
No, definitely not. And that's part of what we want
to
expose in those images, exactly what you're talking about.
And there was that for Exquisite Corpse as well. That's the beauty of it. The artists are having such a hard time to stay quiet, of not showing
for them, isn't it?
The pride.
I know. It's like,
I tell you what, if we could fill an airship with pride, that'd be kind of cool, right? Like you know, and then we could lift the Museum of Fine Arts right off the ground.
We can get
I mean,
we have gas for weeks.
Yeah, exactly. And we could fly it around the world. You know, if we can find a way to bottle pride, I mean, talk about exactly.
But I want to talk just for 1 second about what you said a minute ago about the diversity, of experience. Because one of the people in exposure is Tyler Houston, a potter, 19 years old, and got a major award last year as one of the major up-and-coming new sculptors. You know, it was in a national magazine. So
excellent.
Someone like that, you know, giving them at the beginning of their careers the exposure. Or someone like Rebecca Zweibel, another potter who just came here from Colorado, where she was very renowned and does beautiful work. But she's not known here, so we're giving her an opportunity to launch her
to a mass amount of people
here.
On a huge weekend.
Exactly.
On a huge weekend,
as well as the Lances and the Herbs and the, you know, the people that everyone already knows.
Well, you know, and I think that's something that's interesting about the mentorship process is it's great to participate in something when you're on that level like Lance and Herb and like even people like Mark Ailing and Kerry Jadis,
Right.
like people that are well established, super professional, well known artists. They've brought people up in the game, and like looking back for them, like that's part of being an artist, is saying like there's a pride of knowing that I helped.
Passing that
Yeah, like
culture, that
that's the
new
community,
talent.
that's
Yeah,
the collaboration. Because it, you know, one hand washes the other. You know, in one turn they got what they needed with us working for them coming up, and they needed that work and that skilled labor, and then we needed the knowledge,
yeah.
and it was an even trade. And now, like, you know, it's almost like a Hippocratic oath. You know, like you take that knowledge as an artist that somebody's passed on to you, saying that you will always pass it on to somebody else.
Absolutely.
Even if it's in the smallest thing, and that type of sense of community, and that's a constant collaboration that you have.
And that isn't necessarily a true thing in all arts communities.
No, it's not.
It's very.
There's some very
it's
snobby arts communities.
It's very rare, and I think that we definitely have something unique and generous here in that there is an attitude of rising tides lift all boats. It's true in the theater community. You see people on both sides of the bay sharing directors and coming and working for different theaters on different projects, and it's the same way in the arts community, and that isn't necessarily true.
Everywhere.
I've said it before, and I've probably misquoted it every time, but Bob Devin Jones said, like, this is like sacred soil. You know, like the people that come and gravitate to this area are like good people with good intentions that are like-minded. And you want to know something, if you just open your eyes and open your heart and give a little bit, you're going to find all these people. And, you know, we said it at the launch of Exquisite Corpse when we had all these people gathered in the Marla room, and I looked all of them and I was like, at some point, every one of you in this room, I've had a personal conversation, business interaction, or a relationship with. I mean, that is why we were all here. Like, this is the pool. You know, I mean, like, this is what it's about.
Right.
And I think it resonated with everybody saying, yeah, this is, you know, like when people say it's an arts community, it doesn't just mean there's a bunch of art places in an area that you can travel to.
But these two shows have also set up those collaborations between artists that have not met before. Now, from this point forward, we'll have lifetime partnerships, friendships, whatever. These kinds of shows facilitate all kinds of ripple effects.
Ripple effects.
I know several that I hadn't anticipated that are just so satisfying. So
well, it's that mindset, just that one. If you could reach just that one or make one person feel that way, that, you know, that is a reverberation, because what they're going to do in turn is hopefully reverberate it. Now you got two people feeling that way, and it's amplified and it spreads out, and that's how, you know, like an area like St. Pete gets positive energy, and it goes all around. You know, something completely off topic, but Eugenie Bondurant. She's in the Hunger Games. I mean, I met her 5 years ago through Mark Ailing and Catherine Woods, you know, just because they know him and through the Palladium Theater.
We did a show with her just recently.
And you know, here was, I've known her for years, and then all of a sudden she's in the movie, and it's like it's a national thing, and it's like, crazy. That is so awesome for her. It's so awesome for St. Pete, because here's the thing. Now people, because Hunger Games is so popular, are paying attention to St. Pete. Because, well, you know, who is this Tigress character?
And she's got like millions of followers on Twitter. I mean, everyone loves Tigress.
And
she is just the kindest, most wonderful, most talented person.
The first time I met her, we were having brunch at Ricky P's, because, you know, she's from Nolens. So we're having brunch at Ricky P's. And she's like, well, this is nothing. Like, we just got back from Bourbon Street, and then I met Paul, and Paul's like, oh, you need to come see me play in the cabaret. And then, like, one thing led to another, and, you know, I've known him for years, and it's just, you know, that's just one small story of how, you know, like somebody who's been involved in the arts all their life, and all it takes is one little thing to get you
Well, let's give them their plug, because Paul and Eugenie are having their American Songbook series this weekend at American Stage. They're doing the music of Hoagie Carmichael and Johnny Mercer. And that's going to be this weekend at American Stage. So there you go, guys.
Yeah.
And of course, they're doing the fabulous radio theater project at the studio at 620.
I wish I had some more time.
It's the best. It's like, well, Monday nights tend to be like a less active night.
Yeah, no,
and
Monday nights are great nights.
Oh, good.
And it's the best. It's
like
going back at studio at 620. And it's like old-timey radio. It's just so entertaining.
Here comes the horses.
And I got a Foley artist in the room.
Really?
It's the best.
The thunder.
It's the best. And Paul writes this great skit called Noel Berlin cabaret detective. Absolutely.
And I'm sure he plays it being nice
He
and goes
does.
on.
He totally does.
He's so effortless. I mean,
Hilarious.
like, of course, he's been playing all his life, but so again, what it does is just further, reverberates about the arts community that's here. Because we can talk about visual arts all day. Performing arts is something that
Exactly.
always gets a low billing because people don't think about it. They're like, oh, I'm not a theater person. But if you've ever been to Shakespeare in the Park, or you've ever been to Free Fall Theater,
Right.
or American Stage, and like actually gone, I saw one of the best plays ever in American Stage. I mean, like, and I never thought of myself as a theater
Well, I
person.
grew up in New York City, and
Spoiled.
I know.
On Broadway.
Yes, right near Broadway.
How many times have you seen Cats?
4. I'm sorry. I apologize. 4.
That's great.
Twice in New York. The second time it was just because I was going with a group and it was free.
Yeah.
I mean, it was wonderful. But I wouldn't have elected to see it. Let's just say I wouldn't have elected to see it.
I've always
4
wanted to have
times.
a cat
That's
and,
really
and
funny.
name him Mephistopheles.
But would be awesome. But I mean, I grew up in that community. My son is an actor. He lives in New York City.
That's right.
He's
Shout
about
out to Jordan
that. Yes.
and his very
Okay.
sexy Halloween costume.
I
The Mad
know.
Men
Is he
costume.
not? Once a year, I get a daughter, and he's just so pretty. I just can't even stand it. It's
I can't understand how he got the skin tone.
I
perfect.
don't know, but he is lovely. But and
So you
he's,
got to
and
see
he's
a lot of
about to
theater.
break out. He's got a lead role in a little kind of off-Broadway thing right now that he's rehearsing for,
Well, good for him.
and possibly a role in a film.
Sounds
So
fun.
I know it's like crazy.
Sounds like somebody needs to build an IMDb page, right?
I don't know. Well, I mean, it'll be like a tweet, a very
Yeah,
small
but to
indie
have
film,
one though.
and he doesn't have. Probably even kill me for even saying it's a possibility.
Oh, well, yeah.
Sure, I'll be
Well, yeah,
murdered.
It's the whole like artist not going like, don't jinx me, man.
It's the the mom pride that gets way out of control.
Well, I think El Presidente Mudbutt here. You're a thespian, aren't you?
No, I'm not a thespian.
No,
No, but I
It just looks
I
like one.
might need to.
no, but I thought you were
Research that.
I thought you were a theater singing dance guy.
No, I'm not a theater dancing thespian. No,
I could have swore you said that you were like,
Just a Potter.
no. I mean, come on.
What do you mean, just a Potter?
Potter.
Oh, are you a potter or like? I mean,
He's a ceramic artist.
yeah. I was gonna say like, are you a potter or you are a ceramic artist?
Depends on what side of the bed I wake up on, I suppose. Depends if the coffee cups have run out of the cupboard or not.
Yeah,
Okay.
potters never do dishes. They just throw another one, right?
They just open the kiln.
and then they have the joy of like smashing it and being like, I don't want to wash that. Oh, good stuff. So, again, letting people know that just tuned in, we've gone over a lot in the first half hour of the show. They've been doing the WSPF-DB Rhino On Air,
There you
your
go.
favorite friendly internet radio station, broadcasting
Call
live
letters,
at
2 gajillion megawatts!
and here we are at the half of the hour. We want to shout out to our friends across the pond. They're good chap at Paul Ripley Fabric.
Hello.
mate.
Hello, chaps.
And our good friend Robert Lee.
Good day.
Quite well, sir.
Good day.
That's right. And they hit our British accents, but
That's why we use them
But you
every
love it.
time we're on the air.
it's
they're
good
good.
cheeky humor. And like I would love one day to have Jeremy Clarkson on the show. I think I want to start practicing my British accent just a little bit more to get some quite good enunciation on the words.
It's pretty good.
All right.
I love the Cockney accent. That is,
Hey,
Yeah, there you
really
go.
like a plug. Yeah.
hello.
You said 5 minutes, 3 minutes ago, Turkish. How about your best British accent?
Oh God.
How about your
Hello,
kids?
love.
Hello. Tea and crumpets there. So we've been just swirling around this collaborative. What can we call it a tornado? We're kind of, I mean, like
Maybe hurricane would be more appropriate.
because we don't have
So
So
tornadoes.
exciting.
What has been the biggest challenge she's had to deal with?
Oh yeah.
Shows.
So I mean, we've talked about all the
That's a
gravy
good
because it's not all
choice.
gravy. We want to let
No,
people
yeah,
know that
a lot of hard work.
there's gray hair, sleepless nights.
People that
Yeah.
make things look easy, they're doing a great job.
Yes.
And she has made it look easy. So
Oh,
the question
well.
is,
Yeah, like
That's
so
the biggest
that's right.
challenge.
Like let's get down to the real dirty.
Oh,
This is
yeah.
this is the Wolf
That's
Blitzer
the
segment,
turn.
okay,
That's
Cindy?
the turn. Okay, fine.
All right.
What was something you were talking about? Herding cats?
Yeah, yes. So yeah. I mean, on the real is real.
Okay.
What is the hardest thing about hosting
Well,
a major art show?
For me, probably, one of the bigger challenges is that I'm doing it's a 3-day event from November 13th, 14th, and 15th, and I've pretty much done it alone. I haven't had really, I haven't had a committee or it's really been me, myself, and I will never do that again. That was dumb.
Sometimes you're forced to it.
Baptism by fire.
Baptism by fire. I mean, obviously, always raising money is a challenge. Getting sponsors we have an Adopt an Artist campaign that fortunately has resonated and is
I thought that was a unique.
Thanks to that, I no longer have to work.
Dang, I wanted to pimp you guys out after I saw that. I'm like, wow.
It's just been something that everyone's really responded to. So we've been.
And that's not a great.
It's still something you have to keep. You have to keep on. And then the obvious. It's reaching out to everyone. Send me your bios, send me your titles, and and getting everyone to promote the show themselves.
The choir's ringing in this room.
I know, reaching out and saying, would you mind helping with this, that, or the other thing, and reaching out to 30-some people and trying to get, especially right now, my challenge is I'm trying to get everyone to send me the name of your piece and the price so that I can make the lovely little square that goes on the wall next to it.
Yeah.
And I've gotten like 6.
Like and
it's next week.
I'm sorry.
Well, I'm here to tell you it's not personal.
I'm guilty because.
Okay. Well,
I'm gonna own it. I mean,
it's like
Spade
like
is
backing out of the room with the guilty look on his face. I wasn't even thinking about you.
Here's where we go. Wait. You heard it here. Breaking news right on Rhino On Air about the Expo show. Artists who do not turn in their tags, their artwork is free. Well, all of a sudden you're gonna get like 20
Except
emails.
for my cut.
Yeah. So basically, you owe 20% or 40% or 60%, depending on exactly how big your piece is and how much you have to move it around.
So definitely challenges that go along and just trying to keep all the balls in the air.
The biggest thing, and fortunately, I've been privy to be a part of a number of larger art shows through the Warehouse Arts District. When I was sitting on the board of the Warehouse Arts District Association, we put on a couple of large member shows. Separately, working with Mark Illing and Carrie Jadis, put on the Femme Fantasy show, which was a huge art show extravaganza, like Cirque du Soleil style.
That show was massive, huh?
Yeah,
Wow.
Well, and here's the thing about it. We had 7-8 people on the board of that show, each as a general of their own little army of people that were doing stuff. Like I was in charge of security. You were on my security detail. We had you, me, Sheila, Kyle. I had 5 dudes I was running. I was one general.
Exactly.
So there was 30 people putting on that show. And we met weekly and kept it together. So the biggest thing is perseverance. That's what I was trying to get at, is that showing up every week and just staying on it, staying on the sponsor, staying on the printing, staying on the logistics, staying on the artist, staying on
every day you think of something else. That you hadn't considered that needs to be done.
Yeah.
And
at some point you start deciding what you can do without.
That's exactly what happens. That's exactly what
Start honing down, stripping away these delusions of grandeur.
This ain't gonna happen.
It's a great idea, but
it was a fabulous idea, but it ain't happening.
All right, so check it out. We're gonna have to lose the flying monkeys and the fire breathers. Okay, I mean it's just not in the budget. It's like people the flying monkeys. It's like all right, we got flying monkeys or we've got Triscuits and crackers. All right. Triscuits and crackers.
Absolutely.
Because people are gonna want to eat.
Yeah, that's the hors d'oeuvres.
Goodness. So, and another thing too to bring it in, because you touched on it, expressing some of the the everyday challenges of it, is go in depth a little bit more about the Adopt a Artist program that you have. I mean, I want to segue into that.
Interesting way to raise funds.
Thank you very much. So if you go to www.beautifulburg.wordpress.com, you will come upon the Adopt an Artist program, and you have a list of all the available artists, and you can select. And that there are 2 levels of support, and basically is like purchasing an artist, adopting an artist, and the funds though really go to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
It ultimately is a little redistribution of wealth, and because there are some artists who aren't adopted.
Yeah.
So this is a unique show in that we really do everything we can to pay quite a bit of artist expense before the show, and that's definitely a new concept.
Yeah,
But in photography, these things are expensive.
Yeah, again, the prints made.
When you have one photographer that's doing 2, 3, or 4 artists, it can cost them $500 or more to be part of the show.
Depending on what they want to
that is exactly why we came up with the Adopt an Artist campaign,
trying to
help offset their expenses. So really, there are more expenses
when
for
the pieces
photographers, but exactly right.
Well, when the pieces sell, what it does, it allows for a larger profit margin, not only for the artist, but you as the person putting on the show.
Definitely. I've been very proud to say we're helping people pay their expenses before the show.
Cool.
That's another unique thing about the show. So people do wonder, and I'm glad you give me a chance to clarify, does all the money go to the one artist? No, it does not.
But I mean, like, let's say 10 out of the 30 artists get adopted, and you raise $3,000, gets spread out amongst the 30 artists.
But then we have some perks that are specific to the adopter and the adoptee. The adopter gets one of the limited edition prints, depending on their level of involvement of their particular person that they've adopted. We will do some photos with them together and promote them together on social media. And then they get some other show perks. But, there are some very specific adopter or adoptee perks that they get together, even though all their money doesn't only go to one person.
Cool.
How much do you want for yourself there, Presidente?
I'm going to need at least a good $2 bajillion, I think.
$2 bajillion.
I guess I'm the whore of the bunch. I was going to be like, hey, 500 and and a blood sample. That's what you get. You give me $500, I'll give you a blood sample, I'll give you my signature, sign your blood, like, boom, I'm adopted. And then what? How much is it a month after that? Are we talking about residual? It's like a win for life.
That's a real question. How long does this go on?
The other thing that's good about it is that you set up the 2 amounts, so there's people don't have to think or wonder what should I give or what or these are the 2 amounts.
And it's
people
a great
actually like that better.
Well, it's a great time for that because people often towards the end of the year will start. It's the giving season, between Thanksgiving and Christmas, to where they're like, okay, I'm going to give. If you're going to put $10 in the Salvation Army pot, why wouldn't you put $20 in the local artist pot? Exactly. Kind of deal, to where that it's just like the thing going around. Like, hey, instead of buying all your Christmas presents at Target and the mall and stuff, how about you buy local, because that money isn't going to fund a huge corporation that needs billions of dollars. It's going to actually help pay my cell phone bill and help pay for me to produce this welded thing, and so people feel good giving, knowing that it's direct. It doesn't have to go through some huge nonprofit to get pilfered through to a grant to reach the other stuff.
It goes right to them, and obviously for show expenses. But yeah, it definitely gets utilized the way they intend for it to. I just didn't want them to have the idea that all in person it does get spread out.
But I mean, I'm just throwing it out there. I am adoptable.
Yes, Sal is up for adoption. That's right.
I'm just a little puppy that needs a home,
You're so cute.
I'm housebroken.
He's adorable.
I'm housebroken,
Mostly.
That's not what I
do wander off and tend to hump things when I get excited.
Bring an extra towel and
lock down. If I lock down in your leg, just
let them finish. It's easier.
It's an actual impediment. Leading up to the show, I got all this anxiety and energy, you never know. But it's just so great. And this is what I love, and it's resonated through the show. We start the show, the energy kind of builds through it to where it's like the first 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and then before we're like 45 minutes, and we're flying around, we're talking about this stuff. Right? I mean, we haven't even covered any conspiracy theories. Here's a conspiracy.
Damn it.
Yeah, we didn't really land on Mars. I don't know. Of course
we missed the vendor of the week too.
Drying up. Did you get Ben down in Mexico? You wanna?
No, I don't have anything to share.
Oh no. His bender of the week was some buttery corn.
Oh yeah. That was literally bent over a porcelain.
Oh. So yep. So I mean, a note to oh, this is a good one. Men are from Mars, women are from Visa. Women are from
Visa. Women are from Visa.
I love it.
Yeah. That explains why we can only broadcast as far as Mars. We can't afford to broadcast to Visa. That's somewhere in between Mars and Uranus.
No, your pocket.
Oh, your pockets.
That's a tainted pun.
Oh, double entendre. So we want to remind everybody, because we're coming into the closing minutes of the hour. You've been tuned in to WSPF-DB, Rhino On Air, your favorite friendly internet radio station, broadcasting today and only at
2 gajillion megawatts of raw power to the moon and back.
All right. So we've got the 2 biggest shows of this list, but if you don't go anywhere this year, you're going these 2 places this weekend. And then we're going to drag you 3 or 4 other places because you're going to already be
I have to let you know this. I have completely
next weekend. I'm sorry.
organized my setup schedule on November 12th around the fact that I'm so excited to go to Exquisite Corpse. And
Thank you.
Cool.
Indeed.
I'm cut off at 4 o'clock. I don't care what state the room is in. I'm leaving to go see Exquisite Corpse.
Excellent.
I love the whole idea. I love that both the ideas for both our shows just like came out of
It's totally organic.
They
just
manifested themselves out of the universe, and the only thing I think is like Carl Sagan movie is like, there's 2 galaxies spinning. They are attracted together through their mass. Eventually, these 2 galaxies collide. Those galaxies are the Milky Way and the Andromeda. You know, like that's what I see in my head is like yeah, through the eyes of the stars.
But I love the whole idea of Exquisite Corpse, and I just think it's genius, and I'm so excited to see it. And everyone needs to get to the Museum of Fine Arts on November 12th.
That's right, November 12th, 6 to 10. And then, so we got the couple of big announcements. In conjunction with it is Keep St. Pete Lit's book club. They're doing an exclusive, exquisite-based book club upstairs in the MFA. They're coming down from their book club meeting after discussing this book that they read to an Exquisite Corpse exhibit.
A National Book Club award-winning book.
Yes. And so now we have a tri-collaboration, which I believe is like a triumvirate of such, you know, like right there, you know, happening. And then the next night, what time does your show open up on Explosion?
The opening reception is on Friday night, November 13th.
Cool.
From 6 to 10. Then we have on Saturday, it's in conjunction with Second Saturday Art Walk from 5 to 9. And although I know everyone's going to be at a lot of other places at 8 p.m.
You're centrally located, though. People got to come to the train station.
But at 8 p.m. are awards for the jury. And you were talking about Bob Devin Jones. Yeah. He's on the jury. Michelle.
Oh, I'm gonna have to be there to get my award.
Yeah, there you go. So we're doing the jury, and then Sunday we're doing an artist talk back and a Q&A session with a brunch from 1 to 4.
And I can be there for that as well.
So, yeah.
And sign autographs with my rare blood type.
Oh, so it's the brunch at the
brunch is at the train station.
Okay, excellent.
At the train station, historic, beautiful venue that they've been building out. New lighting, new bathrooms, new everything, but with the historic 1905 structure.
Yeah,
brick
and
walls.
then my buddies that run the CA Cafe up front that have fed me for years.
Delicious food in there.
Amazing Cubans and loco sandwiches.
Delicious.
Wow, so we covered the book club. We got the Exquisite Corpse. It's all amazing. There was something else that was running in the back of my head. Like, don't forget. Oh,
Bloom.
That's right.
Oh, we talked about Bloom. Though.
Bloom. Yes, you nailed that because I mean James Olsen is also.
That's on Second Saturday.
That's on. That's opening Friday night.
Oh, it is. It is.
And it'll be open Second Saturday as well.
Second Saturday as well. Okay.
But James Olsen's also one of the artists in Exquisite Corpse games.
And in Exposure.
And in Exposure.
And in Exposure.
Let's see how many ways we can, in the last 15 minutes, cross everything over.
He's one of the world's, not only just most talented artists, but one of the world's kindest, nicest, and most generous.
Super cool soul. That's what I refer to James as, like just super cool soul. Like just like
level.
He's just like cool, man.
I know.
He's kind of like Matthew McConaughey is like cool if you did. Kind of like embodiment.
Just such wonderful, just great energy all the way around. Him and Mitzi Joe, both incredible.
His parents, he actually was raised on I want to say it's either a amusement park or they had a circus or
like
something.
A comedy.
Cool.
And
I didn't know that.
I met him when we were on the 600 block and when he was still there. And that goes just along with what Cindy was saying. He is the real deal. He does art because he, not just for the sake of it, he loves art. I mean, he does art for art's sake, correction. So yeah, James Olsen, that's why
And they do so much for the community. When
Yes.
Shiloh's here, they
Oh,
were teaching,
yeah.
had classes for all those kids and brought them into Bloom. And
And you can see more murals at Bloom than you can see all across town. I mean, and that place is like it's like full
more
sleeves.
murals per square inch than anywhere in the United States.
And the mural that he did about that eye, that's the one that you
On
can
the corner of
see
the
it from
building.
375. He did it deliberately
In the
because
corner.
it's to watch everybody that's coming into St. Pete, and that everybody that's coming into St. Pete can also see what's going on within the arts as well.
That's
So
brilliant.
that's what that mural represents on that
I
corner.
love it.
So
Excellent. And then the other thing too that we just launched through our Exquisite Corpse International page is the announcement of the exclusive VIP after party at the Amsterdam. This is one thing because John Cohen's a good buddy of mine, and I happen to have done a lot of work for
And
them.
he's doing the bar for exposure
I
as well.
Talk about
God
community
bless
and
him.
collaboration. John and Zoe are like, you ask them, they say, I'm there. I mean, even if they
I
got
know.
something else going, they're
They're
there.
the best
Because I mean,
people.
that is their backbone of the reputation is they are the community bar. They're the place where the who's who goes to hang out and have a couple beers and kick back because it's quiet and chill.
Everybody needs to go to the Amsterdam
However,
and drop in.
Thursday night we're gonna blow it out.
Oh, yeah.
He is
Not-
closing
not-
the
yeah.
doors for Exquisite Corpse International. You cannot get into the Amsterdam without your MFA sticker. It's gonna cost you $5.
Fun.
That $5, what it's going to do is it's going to go towards your entry into the full exhibit of the museum, not just the
It's
conservatory.
part of their Thursday night, late night, reduced admission fee
Exactly.
for the museum.
And-
So you get to go to the museum for $5 on Thursday nights and go to Exquisite Corpse. It's
Exactly,
amazing.
and basically what we're doing is we're turning it all over. We're not putting any markup on the museum's entry. That also gets you an exclusive viewing of our film, The Making of the Exquisite Corpse,
I can't
or
wait to
whatever
see that.
amazing
Me
filmmaker
too.
Justin Mullally names it. You know, I mean, right now that's its placeholder, The Making of. You know, he'll probably come up with something really awesome title-wise, like Dimorpheus and you know, I don't know. But
And you
so,
got a song? I saw the song.
oh yeah, Mark
Yeah.
Mitchell.
Oh, Mark
I love Mark
Mitchell.
Mitchell. We love this guy. We have a bromance going on
Oh,
with
you
Mark
gotta,
Mitchell.
you gotta.
You
Total
guys
crush
I
out.
wish I had known. I would have used that song for the intro to the beauty.
Oh, well, I know you.
episode.
Yeah, you asked
We
me.
used your sympathy for the devil, but I was like, I
I'm a
wonder
sucker
if
for that
I
stuff.
was going to even ask you, does Exquisite Corpse have a song? And then
Yeah,
there-
he
and then,
wrote
and
it
then it
specifically.
And it
magically
just appeared, didn't it?
And like that was just an excerpt of it. And he's such an amazing artist. But like, yeah,
It's really inspired a lot of people.
yeah, we've talked about it. It was so cool because we knew of him, didn't know him, maybe haven't really met him, kind of deal. We met him through the Exquisite Corpse. He came in, and thank you to Anne Marie. That's right. She's maybe there. Yes, I have.
The only reason why I say that because he's a musician, he's an artist and he's a musician. So he had been on Rhino On Air like 2 years ago. I interviewed him, and he had done of some of his new music that he had done.
Yeah.
So that's how we met. Then I'm at Bloom's, and who's the first person I see? Mark Mitchell, and I just had to invite him.
Yeah.
So, but nothing, and it was what just Cindy was saying. A lot of it has just been so organic. You know, none of it has been planned. But when you're on the right track, it just flows.
Things just fall to
Let's
pieces.
flow.
That's right. Like, you know, it doesn't miss a beat. So, you know, Captain El Presidente Mud Button here and I have been talking about it. You know, ever since we've met.
Some kind
Mark.
of type of title that is,
Yeah.
huh?
I keep adding to it each week. You know,
Another syllable for you.
Octavius Pontus Mudbutt the Third. You know, he's Pope Mudbutt now. he traveled to Mexico City and blessed the Mexicans, man. And so here's the thing. I lost my train of
What's the
thought.
thing? Well, I will tell you.
Oh,
why
Mark Mitchell. He's awesome. I mean, he's an amazing painter. He's just a cool dude to talk to. He's super excited about the game. He's a musician. And, like, that is one thing. Like you said, we didn't really know him. Now we know him. It's like we're over the top. It's so cool to be acquainted with him now.
He has like global war things in his studio.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. He's like a world-renowned, like, designer.
That's
I
incredible.
mean, like, and so it's all bringing it together. It's
Oh,
so
wear that
huge.
thing on my head.
And I think we can go on for at least another hour about
Yeah.
the gravity, I guess is the proper word for all of this happening. So I guess let's wrap it in closing. In El Presidente Pontus Maximus the Third Mudbutt, what are you leaving with our listeners leading up to the big premiere in 6 days from now that you want them to know?
I'm seeing this in very much so in its infantile stages, and just traveling back from Mexico City, and when I was there and speaking to people about this project, I can see how this thing's going to grow globally. And those same collaborations that we're seeing throughout our community right now, I can see happening between
in the international
multiple countries throughout the world. And that's really what I'm so excited about.
All right, and
got the goosebumps.
next, Cindy, what are you most excited about? What do you want to leave the listeners with going into the big exposure show?
Going into the big exposure show. Well, obviously, I mean, to start, I'm very excited about seeing Exquisite Corpse, and I just love the whole idea of it, and I think it's wonderful. And but as far as exposure goes, I'm as much looking forward to seeing everything come together as a lot of people are. I mean, for me, it's going to be like seeing everything for the first time too. So just to see that open up and to see how the idea is received, because the
fruit of the labor, so to speak.
It is something that hasn't been done, and even though we're not going worldwide like you guys are, which is so unbelievable, you know, there is talk about sending our show around the state, at least to, you know, as representative of arts in St. Petersburg. So hopefully that will be the next step. Or,
well, I mean, that's a great point, because I mean, Florida's a big state. We're like as long as Texas and California and all this other stuff. I mean,
and as wide as Delaware.
And as wide as Delaware. Shout out to the Fighting Blue Hens. You know?
But for you guys to go around the world and then to have the community be a part of the force that helps make that happen, very, very cool.
That's right.
I like it.
And,
I like it.
and I guess what I want to leave everybody with is if I don't have a heart attack between now and Thursday.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Knock on wood.
Right there with you.
No, you won't have a heart attack.
All right.
Words become actions.
All right. So, like, you know, metaphorically speaking, if I don't have a psychological meltdown in between now and then.
Which is far more likely.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not about you, it's about us. That's the reason why.
I can't die. There's people that count on me.
Exactly.
It's like that good expression. It's like God put me on this earth to do a certain amount of things, and I'm so far behind that I'll never die. You ever heard that expression? Like that's a good one. That's pretty much right. I'm so far behind. I'll never die. So, but I'm excited most as far as the Exquisite Corpse show as popping the top on the first crate.
Yes.
Because it's going to be like lighting off.
I just got a sinking feeling in my chest when you said that.
I just got to gasp a bit.
It's
It's kind of like this. It's kind of like walking in your grandfather's basement and grabbing a bottle of $18.99 Dom Perignon and him being like, "Go ahead, kid, let it rip." You know, like that kind of emotion of like, you know,
waiting so long.
Your hands are shaking.
Right,
you know, like you're doing it. You don't want to mess it up, and then you pull it off, and then once it's done, it's like, you know, let the champagne
it means
flow.
so much, and it's so valuable, and it's the result of so much
I mean, like,
work for so long, right?
Because that moment of that, like, you know, that crate opening, because I picture it being like vacuum sealed in the future.
Absolutely.
That moment is going to be immediately a deep breath that I can let out, and I'll be 4 inches taller again, because it's underway, it's happening, and I have no fear. It's all anxiety, anticipation. There's no fear. And it's just like, I can't wait for it to get here. And then also at the same respect, I wish there was just another 6 days.
But also to see it be an actual reality, you know, it's been a concept.
Yes.
You know, it's real and people are working on it, but to see it all pulled together and to see this is an actual show that we did, you know, on all of our respective levels, and to see the reality of it come to fruition will be a huge thrill. It really will.
And then we can all focus on next year.
It's been almost an entire year.
Yeah, about 8 months. I want to say, was it January that we hatched this?
Yeah, I think it was January.
Oh.
Exhausted.
Hey, here's the benefit.
Like
We incorporated Exquisite Corpse LLC, and at this point, the company owes us each like 70 or 80 grand. So our tax return's gonna be sweet. You know, it's like.
That's the truth.
Yeah, we're like, we need a donor just to get us above, you know, the $250,000 mark. Because I'm not cheap. I mean, I bill at $100 an hour.
But it can be had.
Yes. Not cheap, but can be had. So we want to thank all of our listeners for tuning in for this most awesome 2 gajillion watt episode of 2 Outcasts and Mike. We got our special guest Cindy Stovall with us from the Beauty the
Thank you
Burg.
so much for having
We
me.
wish
Thank
you
you
much
for
success
joining us today.
with exposure, and I look forward to being a part of it. I'm going to be there Saturday to pick up my award, and then I will be there. And then I will be there Sunday to have my chicken and waffles. Friday night, I have no idea what's going on Friday night because we're supposed to be closing on the house sometime soon in the midst of all
And
this.
congratulations.
And today is
Hey, yeah, and amidst all of this, if it couldn't get crazier, guess what? A girlfriend bought a house. We're moving.
Yay! And today is FFF.
First Friday?
Fun First Friday.
Today is First
All
Friday.
right.
All right, that's right. We want to give a friendly reminder to all you tourists out there to get your butts
Get on
downtown.
downtown.
And for all you St. Petersburgians to go ahead and head out to the beach and, and let the tourists have downtown for the one night a month.
I think Florida Craft Art is having their holiday
Yes,
tonight.
tonight
is
the
Cool.
opening.
Yeah,
They always have
the
nice
opening of
events.
their, yeah, that's a big deal every year.
What we need to do is invent the transporter here in St. Pete so we can get around all
Telling
these
you,
shows.
right.
the trolley just isn't enough, man. We definitely need transporting skills for sure.
Although a
Absolutely.
monorail would be pretty sweet.
That's what we
just
need.
need. Oh, man. Hey, let's get on it. Let's start an initiative. And
All right, let's start
a project.
another one.
All right.
Time for another project.
All right,
Let's go.
everybody. Thanks for tuning in to WSPF-DB Rhino On Air, your friendly favorite internet radio station, broadcasting live at
1 gajillion megawatts.
next week, because this week we're at 2.
Oh, yeah.
All right,
Next week.
thanks, Cindy. Thank you, Anne-Marie. Thank you there, Captain El Presidente Pontus Mudbutt III. Sparky, and we will see you at the show. Don't forget, Thursday, Exquisite Corpse International, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Exposure, and we'll see you next weekend. Peace out.
And give me a second.